We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani.
I'm Danielle.
And we're here yet again. It's Friday, a day to be excited about because it's the beginning of a weekend. I'm looking forward to this weekend.
I am too. We got some family time scheduled. Everybody's excited. Our teenagers are getting independent and going and hanging out together.
Yeah. What are you doing?
It's a great season.
It is?
No pun intended.
I think that was intended because you said season.
Pun
so that
intended.
people, there you go. That's what it was. It was a pun intended. So we thank you all for tuning in. Listen, before we get started, make sure you
like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you won't miss the show, guys, and we appreciate that you continue to share this message across the 4 corners of the earth. It is working.
Yeah, and so we have some programs, as you know, Foundry, Unearthed, but we're excited about the Last Chance Weekend that's coming up. We have a couple of couples that actually signed up yesterday and ready to dive into a few more. We like to have a nice, small, quaint, intimate group so that we can go hard in the paint. So March 11th through the 13th, reach out to us, let us know if you are interested, and we will get you registered for this amazing 3-day transformational event. All right, we're talking about changing and maintaining your marital season. This is the last part, guys. This is the last part in the series. Hopefully it served you well. On yesterday, we were going through some of the things you need to do to maximize your season or to get out of your dark season into a better place. And we left off talking about this one, developing the awesome power of empathetic listening.
My God.
I can't tell you how important this is. It's one of the best ones. You have 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Listen.
So you should be using these in the appropriate way so your spouse feels heard.
I mean, yes, to that point, okay? So here's the thing. When we specify the listening, right? Because sometimes people hear, you should be a good listener. And in arguments, you should be seeking to listen. But there's a difference when you actually put an empathetic lens on it. Because now you're not in defense mode. Right? You don't have your dukes up. You know what goes on in those conversations that you're having, right? You're listening to your spouse tell you all the things that you aren't doing and what's not right about you and all the things, and everything that you're hearing sounds exactly like what they do to you. So you're in defense mode. You're not listening, and you're certainly not listening empathetically, meaning, you know what? Let me put my defenses away and let me hear what they're saying. Let me actually consider if there's any truth to what it is that they're saying. And let me hear how this makes them feel. Because an argument is nothing more than 2 people with emotions and feelings clashing. And people aren't being heard.
This is so true.
It's so important to do this. This is something that this is lifelong learning here. Because depending on the topic, depending on the hot button subject that we're talking about, all rules go out the window and you just like, I just failed, okay? But you have to begin to practice this empathetic listening, and actually you can make an intention for yourself to do so, right? The next time I get into a conflict, I'm going to remember that this is the time I'm going to do trial and error.
Yeah.
I'm going to test this thing. I'm not going to like it. It's going to feel wrong. I'm going to be feeling strong and right. When you're strong and wrong, right? But I'm going to sit there and I'm going to turn on my empathy bone and I'm going to hear my spouse. That's what you're going to do.
The fact is, we've said this 1,000 times, communication, the biggest issue. 99% of couples struggle with communication, and more focus is given to how we use this than how we use this. But when you're listening, one of the things that you're doing is you're suspending your agenda. It's not like double dutch where you're waiting to jump in, right? So you're just waiting for the right time to jump in. And oftentimes what you say is a reaction, retort, response to what your spouse said, but not in a, I hear you, I understand, let me respond to that.
Exactly.
It's more like, talking points. Just think about politicians who are on interviews and they have their talking points and they're talking over each other and they're ignoring what the person said. Then, matter of fact, they're trained not even to answer the question.
Yeah,
They're trained,
are excellent
do
at that.
not answer the question, stick to your talking points, and it is what it is. And it's very adversarial, it's very opponent-like, and that's the same approach that we take in our relationships. And this is why we can't resolve any issues, because we're not taking the time to effectively listen. Because if you're listening, maybe your response would be different. And to your point,
And maybe the argument would end a little sooner, because now we get on the hamster wheel,
Yeah.
right? Because it's just like you heard one thing that wasn't exactly on point, and now we're going to talk about that, and then that's the hamster wheel. And so now everybody's off track.
Yeah.
Nobody's listening with empathy ears, and it's just it's an argument. It's a big argument with no solution.
so we listen, or we're talking and communicating, and we're looking at life through a lens, right? These lenses, through this perspective.
Yes.
And we want our spouse to see it. Effective listening, now, effective listening and empathetic listening would say, Hassani, let me see, put those on.
Oh, gosh.
Really?
Oh, Lord, Jesus.
That's what we do?
This is how it goes, y'all. You'd be like, good God, sitting there trying to be empathetic. You're like, you just feeling... But I got your lenses on, Jesus.
I had a word I was going to use,
That's
but I'm
how
not
you
going to
see
say it.
things?
I'm not going to
Good
say it.
God,
But at
that's how
least
you
you
see
see how I see it.
But at least I see how you see it. Now, this look crazy to me, but I'm going to sit here with these lenses on, and I'm going to be empathetic, even though we don't.
Lord.
Because do we have to agree? We don't. Well, we need to agree. We need to agree to agree. But my point is do we need to see eye to eye on this all the time? Like, whatever his perspective is, I may not see it that way. Like, what is going on? But guess what? I'm going to sit here and find empathy in how he sees things. And that may not feel good, make sense, or agree with you. And sometimes it just doesn't. Sometimes we just see things differently. But do you always have to feel like, nope, I don't see it that way. Here you go, take your glasses.
No, keep them on.
Nope.
Keep them on.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you need
what
to
I'm
see
saying?
right. Keep them on.
Do you always have to? Hear my point, though. Like, seriously. If I am looking at things through Hassani's lenses, and I'm being empathetic, this is important, everybody, and I'm listening to him, and none of that makes sense to me, because I don't see things like this. This looks crazy. It's all blurry to me. I shouldn't be like, nope, that don't make no sense. Here you go, take your glasses back, bye. No. The way I see it is, that's not having empathy. You have to actually sit in the understanding of your partner for a minute. And sometimes that's hard to do because you have to suspend how you see things. And that's okay. Sometimes that's okay, guys. That's how we get to the place of agreeing to agree, which
Yes.
is really important to do.
And this is so critically important when you're in your fall and winter season, because the reason why you got there, or the reason why you've been trapped there, is because you haven't embraced these techniques that we're teaching you. You haven't shifted and changed the way that you communicate. You've been doing the same thing that hasn't worked a little bit harder, because your belief is, well, if I try a little bit harder, it'll work. Well, sometimes that could be the very thing that can lead to your destruction and keep you trapped in your misery,
Right.
doing the same thing but expecting different results. And so this is, sometimes it requires eating a little bit of humble pie, suspending your agenda, allowing your spouse to speak, really hearing what they say. And sometimes these conversations do get heated. We know what it is, but we encourage you to listen to the heart of the message, not just the tone and the face and the body language and the disposition someone comes with, but listen to the heart of what's being said. Now, sometimes that's difficult to do. That's why when we're doing these work days, somebody asked a question about, what is a work day and how do you do it? And I told you we're putting something together that we're going to make available for you that will give you the ins and outs, the nuts and the crannies, the nuts and bolts of whatever it is, of what that is and how to walk it out. And the rules of engagement and how you communicate are everything. And a big piece of that is empathetic listening. So I hope that this is helping, because this is one of the biggest issues couples struggle with. Even when you're in your spring and summer season, remember we said there will be missteps, there will be setbacks, there will be challenges, there will be an occasional storm that comes through. You have to know how to pivot and adjust and turn things around in your favor to maximize the season that you're in. Guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. We're in the last part of this series on marital seasons. We'll hope you're getting something out of it. We'll be right back after this quick break. If you're a man and you have a pulse, then you need to join this program. You're a husband, you're a father, you're a leader. You have the weight of the world on your shoulders. You have to be everything for everyone, but do you know who and how to be for you? You're still in search of your own significance. You're in internal battle with your own vices. You're questioning, do I even know what it means to be a man? I know I'm supposed to be there for others, but what about me? The fact is, you need a model. You need a code to live by, a system of principles to govern your life. You need an internal compass to guide your every decision. You need the 4 securities to build your own kingdom. What you need is the Foundry. In short, a foundry is a facility where castings are produced by melting metal, pouring liquid metal into a mold, and then allowing it to solidify. Well, this is where we're testing the metal of men. Foundry is a 12-week men's-only coaching program. It is a brotherhood that will take each man through a purification process of the heart, mind, and soul. We here at Couples Academy promise you that if you give us 12 weeks of your life, you will no longer recognize it. If you care about the improving of your life, your marriage, and your family, register today. Take it.
Hey guys, welcome back. You're watching the Couples Academy show. We are going to acknowledge some of our people. I want to just say hello to Vashon. He's with us all the way from Chicago. Callie Power is in California. Shalise from New Jersey. Nina Wright in Detroit. JJ is with us. Jackie McGimsey is with us from South Carolina. Lisa Titi, you are joining us from Maryland. Melissa, everybody's starting to say where they're from now. Thank you. From Florida. Adrian is with us and joining in. I'm not sure from where. LaShonda, hey girl, good morning. Good morning to Dee Dee Jones. Good morning to VT Flow. Vention, I believe that's Vention, right? Mm-hmm. Happy Martinez is with us from Texas. It's Robin's World from, what is KC? Kentucky?
Where?
KC?
No, KCI? I have no clue.
Where's KC? I don't know. Okay. Marlene is with us. Good morning from McDonough. Jarius and Jessica and Torre and Gonzalez says, good morning, family. Team Smith, Gonzalez, and Jewel are back. Time to get back to work with Couples Academy. Oh. Yes, I'm so glad you guys enjoyed your anniversary and your vacation. Everything looks so amazing. Mm-hmm. So congratulations to you all. JJ is with us. Here's a comment. As hard as it is for me, I have to move myself out of the way so I can hear what my husband is saying because I feel I'm always right. But not true. Very true. Thank you for that, JJ. So many, it's all popping in. Lisa again, Robin with us. There was a comment that came in on Instagram. It was powerful. I can't find it in here. It says here, it's David Battle is asking, is there a hurricane season? Because that's the season I'm in.
And wow, that's a profound question, right?
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Depending upon where you are in the world, like I remember when we lived in Costa Rica, we didn't necessarily have 4 seasons the way we do here in the States. We had a rainy season and a dry season, right? If you live in the Caribbean or certain parts of the world, there's a hurricane season. Mm-hmm. Now you know it's coming. you know the hurricane season's coming, and if you're wise, you'll board up windows, you'll stock up food, you'll do other necessary things to weather the storm that's coming. So hurricanes represent a storm. They're perpetual storms that last for a period of time. And so the thing is, if you've been living in that type of environment for 10, 15, 20 years, because that's just where you live, are you constantly
Kansas City.
Are you constantly overwhelmed by the storm, or have you made adjustments to say, yep, storm's coming, we know exactly what to do, we're in sync, we're in tune? Or do you keep having disasters take place in your life because of external situations? So the storm, once again, the hurricane, once again, can represent things that you have nothing to do with, meaning you didn't create it. It's just what's happening to you. You know, there's certain couples that we work with who truly believe that life is a battle, because there's always gonna be a situation, always gonna be a problem, now they've taken on that mentality, and so they become magnets of the battle.
Yeah.
But there are some people who experience a tremendous number of hardships. I would say probably in the earlier years of our marriage, it felt like a hurricane season.
Absolutely. And I was reading some comments here. First of all, Casey is Kansas City. Boom, duly noted. Thank you very much. But when it comes to the hurricane, right, and we're talking about seasons, isn't a hurricane just two weather patterns coming together and conflicting, right? You've got the hot coming in from the north, and this is cold coming in from the south, and all this makes a darn hurricane. And so you've got these conflicting seasons. And so I can imagine that if somebody is in a marriage with somebody who is behaving like it's the summer, and then they're with somebody who feels like it's winter, that could be a hurricane. Because you have two conflicting weather patterns operating within your relationship.
Danielle, wait.
Yes.
You are so smart.
I mean, you know, that's what they say. So this is what you got to deal with, guys. This is why it's important.
Just say thank you.
This is why it's important for you to acknowledge where you are in your relationship. I think all too often we just bury our head in the sand. We don't want to deal with what's actually in front of our eyes. We actually think that if we ignore it, it'll just go away, and it doesn't. It just increases and becomes more frustrating, and then yes, you will find yourself in a hurricane, all kinds of weather patterns just hitting you left and right. And you got to get up from there. I mean,
so you're in your hurricane season, your winter, your fall, wherever you are. Let's go to the next practical tip that's going to help you. Listen. Discover the joy of helping your spouse succeed. Now, it's interesting. When you're in a good place, like, you become an encourager, a supporter of all things your partner. Like, you want them to win, because when they win, you win. When you're in a dark place, when you're in your fall, your winter, when you're in your hurricane, you look at your spouse as your competitor, right? They're your adversary. And if they win, you have a problem with it, because, matter of fact, it's so interesting. There's a couple that I've been working with, and that's the perspective. It's just like, well, it's me against her, or me against him, and their victories have nothing to do with me. Now they got a leg up. Now I got to do something to at least match what they've done, or I got to overcompensate, so because it's a competition. And how many couples do we know have this competitive spirit? They're literally engaged in power struggles all throughout the course of their relationship, because they're not in alignment. Once they get in alignment, they will then begin to become a power couple, knowing how to use their strengths to benefit the marriage, not tear it apart. And so it's so important that you begin to think the best of your partner. It's so important that you begin to lend a helping hand and to extend yourself to your partner and to support them any way you can. See, it goes back to this principle called the law of reciprocal altruism. Okay, the law of reciprocal altruism. Really quickly, they're big words. Reciprocal, I do for you, you do for me. Altruism means to do good things. So you have organism A, organism B. Organism A contributes to the life and vitality of organism B, even if it means the loss of its own. So I'm giving you, but I'm getting less because I'm giving you what I got. So I have less than. Organism B contributes to the life and vitality of organism A, even if it means the loss of its own life. But the reality is, if they're both giving, aren't they both receiving? But if they were doing the inverse, they're waiting to receive, they're waiting to get, they're waiting for their spouse to help, both of them would be empty because nobody's budging.
Wait a minute, babe. You are brilliant, boo.
Well, you know,
you are so brilliant.
That's what they say.
But isn't Isn't that true? Like you broke it down scientifically for the people, right? What that means to actually discover the joy of helping your spouse succeed, right? But we are not supposed to be competitive. We are not supposed to be going toe to toe. Oh, you did me wrong. Let me one up you. I can do you wrong 10 times over. You know, oh, you got an attitude? I got you on the attitude. Oh, you don't want to talk? You don't want to talk for 2 days? I got you on not talking for 10 days. It'll be 45 days before we stop talking. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so with that, we don't want to be in this position where we are competing with our spouse, where we are waiting for the demise of our spouse. Because at the end of the day, if I'm a competitor of yours, that means I want you to lose. That means I want to win. I want to be the victor. And we can't have that in the midst of our relationships. We're supposed to be partners. We're supposed to be compatible and competing together against the world and everything else. But society has us messed up. We out here competing in the workplace. We out here competing in so many different ways. Guys, we do have a quick break. You're watching the Couples Academy show, and we will be right back. And learn.
It's never too late. It's never too late, guys. We're back. Welcome to the Couples Academy show. We're talking to our Instagram family during the break. Listen, we're talking about these tips of what we need to do to get things back on track. I was saying to them, listen, for all of you who are watching, you know that we have a playlist on Couples Academy that has every single episode since we started. We started off literally as a Facebook 100-day Facebook Live challenge.
It was 100. I thought it was like 50, and then we went to 100. So we were going for 100.
It was 100 days. It was a Facebook challenge. We started off.
It went by so fast.
It did, because the pandemic was crazy.
Right.
And the show was like 15, 20 minutes, and then boom, it just manifested because you all responded. So we appreciate you because you've been a part of this journey, and we're glad that we're here. Now we're like 260 episodes in, and glad that we're still going strong, and we want to continue to be committed to you in this process. So take these notes, change your life, and reach out to us so we can help. All right, we're going to the next tip. We got two more. Here we go. Maximize your differences. I think this is huge because the one thing that you say is, we're just so different.
We're not compatible.
Oh man, I don't know if I made the right decision. You know, we just think different. We're wired different. We can't agree on anything because you've been practicing agreeing to disagree. But those differences were created by God. It was all by divine design. And so if you look at it from a different perspective, once again, when you change how you look at a thing, the thing you look at changes. So you're no longer looking at the differences as a problem, but it actually is a power that you can tap into. Because now, if these listen, we're not talking about staying stuck in bad behavior, but I'm male, she's female, gender difference. I'm a 3, she's a 7, personality difference. Don't we all have our unique strengths? And taking those strengths and bringing them in and figuring out how to make it work together, that's compatibility.
Yes, we all need to get us a big old slice of humble pie, like real talk, because
Danielle was eating some this morning. It's one of her favorite. I mean, she's got a sweet tooth for humble pie.
Anyway. Because what really is going on here is that we're competing and we're not recognizing each other's gifts. And so there are things that we think we're supposed to do and we're supposed to handle and we're supposed to take charge of. And we're not observing that there are specific gifts that you already have in your partner that would make them more suitable to handle certain things. That's just in general in life. But then there are differences in your personalities that bring conflict into your relationship. Listen, there are 2 categories of conflict. There's the external conflict and then there's the internal conflict. The external conflict is what's actually happening, right? Here's what's actually happening. Let's make it a financial conflict, right? Somebody is spending money. Somebody spent too much money and did not let the partner know. That's actually what happened. Then there's the internal conflict about it, right? So if there's a conflict that's external between Hassani and I spent too much money, he didn't know, and he's wondering where the money went. The internal conflict inside of me is I should feel, I have the right to spend money. I don't want to feel contained. I don't want to feel like I can't be free. The internal conflict inside of him is we're not going to be able to secure things. We're not going to be able to pay the bills. Safety, security. Yes. Internal conflicts are happening. So we have to understand the root of a situation. Nobody wants to keep you controlled and confined necessarily, but you're oftentimes arguing with how people feel and see things, not necessarily the physical thing that's happening outside. That's why you can start out with an argument talking about one thing and it leads into another thing, because really, you're arguing with the internal conflict, not the external conflict. So we need to get an understanding, we say this time and time again, of who it is you're married to.
Yes.
Get the Enneagram assessment. Nobody should be listening to this show and not know what their Enneagram personality style is and their partner's personality style is. How can you maximize the differences when you don't know what the differences are? There is a special chemistry that you have with your partner that nobody else has, but you have to investigate in order to understand what those things are, and then you can maximize your differences in a powerful way.
Now think about chemists for a second. Now you probably had chemistry class in school where you're mixing solutions, and maybe not, because that could have been dangerous, but you have all these valves, right? And you got all these tubes and things, and you're mixing stuff together, and you can create like an explosion if you put the wrong stuff together, or if you don't know the degree, the percentages and the portions of what you need to do. Madison, grab the dog.
He's fine. I left the garage open.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so she's gonna, okay, cool. Anyway, so when you're mixing these things, it can cause a disaster if you don't know what you're doing. But see, her point is, once you understand who you are and the differences, she's gonna walk you through how to begin to live a compatible life with these differences, because it is chemistry. It's all science, guys. God built this into the DNA of who we are, and if we tap into it and stop remaining ignorant of ourselves and ignorant of our spouse, things begin to change. I have to go to this comment really quickly. Adrian says, we have to let go of our ego so that we grow to a higher place in our relationship.
I love
From
that.
From ego to we grow.
Yes.
I'm stealing it and I'm never giving you credit for it. No, that was
That's
powerful.
ridiculous. Let's listen to this comment from Laura. Says, you and me against the problem, not you against me, right? We should be back to back. We should be like duking it out and fighting everybody else together. We shouldn't be fighting each other and in conflict with each other about matters that actually need to help us go to the next level. I mean, when it comes to financial issues, which is a big issue within relationships, we're fighting about something that actually matters to both of us. We have to come into agreement with that so that we can move forward. If you don't come into financial agreement, it is a stick and stay. You have stopped. You can't grow there anymore. So you have to begin to move towards agreement, guys. We have to learn and master this, but it's hard to do it when you don't know who you're married to.
We got one more, and we're going to end this series strong. Check this out. Implement the power of positive influence. Now, listen. We all need an influence in our lives and in our marriage, right? We talk about this often, how we often share our problems with other people who share the same problems. So you're going to the wrong place to vent. You're going to the wrong place to seek advice. You need a positive influence. And for some of you, this show has served as that. But it is the beginning of a journey. You need to find a marriage mentor, somebody who is in a healthy space, who has wisdom and expertise, who can guide you through a process. You need to have a counselor or a coach. Think about it like this, because some of you still have a negative stigma towards this whole idea of a counselor or a therapist. Think about a coach. Listen, every single year, Danielle and I invest in a coach. If not in one area, maybe 2, 3 areas. Currently, right now, we have 2 coaches that I can think of off the top of my head. 2 coaches that help us in different areas of our life. They represent a positive influence. They help to keep us accountable. They help us to stay on track. They help us to accomplish a goal. Yes, you can do certain things on your own, but it's going to take you longer. It's going to be harder. You're going to spend more money. You're going to take more time in doing it. There are shortcuts that you can learn from your coach, hacks that you can learn from your coach. And so this is why we encourage you to have something that is a positive influence in your life that will assist you. You don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to remain on an island. There's a community that will support you. Here's a great comment. Watching your videos and doing the masterclass has helped me more than my weekly therapy. My therapist is amazing and has helped us a lot, but I feel like you are preaching to my soul.
Wow. Thank you.
God
that,
bless.
JJ. We appreciate that.
We appreciate that. We appreciate that. That's what we want to be, a positive influence for you. So reach out to us. Let's see what we can do to help you. Guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. That's the end of this particular series. Hope you got something out of it.
Have a great weekend. We know we will.
We certainly will.
We'll see you next week on Monday, guys. See you soon.